Fred, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad. Good morning to you. How are you?
Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias.
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What lovely to talk to me. Funny lad.
Grammy Award winner Maya joins us.
How are you?
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat, Brad Gilmore.
And we're so excited to welcome him to the show. We're talking about the WWE Live Holiday Tour coming to the Toyota Center on December the 28th. The tickets available on WWE.com. This guest, man, he's the host of the Grayson Waller Effect. You saw him tear things up in NXT. Now he's making his name on SmackDown. Grayson Waller, welcome to the show, man.
Man, thank you for having me. If you need any tips on hosting duties, you've got a great voice for it. Face is struggling a bit, but that's okay. We're not all blessed. But if you need any tips, I'm here to help.
Well, you know what? I really wanted to bring you here to ask you if you just wanted to take the show over from now on. I mean, maybe we could switch roles. I could get in the ring and you could be the host of this show.
Look, I'm tempted, but I've seen the girls in Houston, and I'm happy to stay where I am at the moment. But I appreciate the thought. Thank you.
Well, you wish they all could be like the Aussies back home, I'm sure. Now, talk to me though about going on the road, man, and hitting towns like Texas during the holidays and living that life, because I think people don't understand what professional athletes, sports entertainers really put their bodies through, even in the road schedule.
Yeah, it's wild getting called up onto the main roster earlier this year. I was staying in Florida every night. I was in my bed every night for all the shows and NXT type of thing. So now that we're on the road, it's a little bit different, but it's cool. I get to see a bunch of places I've never been before. And especially, with the holidays, I'm not going to be home. I'm not going to be with my family, that type of thing. So where else would you rather be than the holiday tour? And I've heard so many great things from the other superstars talking about this tour, about how fun it is. Obviously, during the holidays, everyone's in a good mood. Everyone wants to enjoy themselves. And I know these holiday tours are a lot of fun for the fans as well.
Talk about that moment where you did get the call that you're going to go to the main roster. I mean, down here in Houston, I work with Booker T. Booker T is the commentator over there on NXT. And he was saying at the time, man, I wish I had Grayson for longer down here at NXT. I really wanted to, work with him more and have that opportunity. But then it seems like as soon as he gets there, you win Iron Survivor, you have a couple matches for the title, and then boom, you're on SmackDown. Did you feel ready for that moment?
Yeah, honestly, I did feel ready with whatever was to come. If it was to stay in NXT for a few months, there's a lot of talent down there that I could have worked with. But I felt ready to go and felt like I'd kind of done my time in NXT. Obviously, my situation was a little bit strange because I actually broke my leg in my last NXT match. So for me personally, I didn't think I was going to get drafted, because who's going to get drafted with a broken leg? But thankfully, I'm great with the talking, great with the talk show, that type of thing, and it's all worked out. But I was ready to go, and I think everyone's kind of seen since I have been up that was the case.
Now, when you talk about the Grayson Waller effect, and I'm not just saying this because you're here and I'm not trying to get on your good side, but man, it really gives me that nostalgic feel to where, Jericho had the highlight reel. And I know you've probably heard Piper and Piper's Pit a lot when people talk about you. Did you feel like, I don't know, a sense of a responsibility taking a talk show like that to the main roster and living up to what we saw in the past as fans?
Very much so, because I was always a fan of the talk shows when it came to the WWE, and obviously before I started mine, I watched a lot of Piper's Pit and things like that to kind of get the vibe. And I think it's such an important part about what WWE does is those type of fun segments. So having it as kind of how I debuted on the main roster too was a little bit daunting in a way, because you're not debuting in a match, you're not debuting with these hype packers, all those type of things. The first thing people see of me is me hosting and kind of causing chaos with their favorite superstars. So I know a lot of people to start off with didn't even know that I could wrestle. So that was a little bit of fun while I was healing. But it was daunting at first, but now it's just like it's the most fun. Like I'm in there with guys like Logan Paul, John Cena, like Cody Rhodes, like the biggest names, and getting to interact with them and that type of thing is a lot of fun.
Do you think that shows maybe the company has big plans for you having to rub shoulders? You had the Twitter feud with The Rock, and being in there with Edge, even working when when he was finishing up his run and things of that nature. That's a lot of trust, man.
Very much so, and especially early on too. For them to put me in there. But I think with NXT now, you have that connection with the main roster. So in NXT, I worked with AJ Styles, I worked with Gargano, I worked with Apollo Crews. Like I'd kind of already done some things with people from the main roster. So you can kind of earn your stripes down there and earn enough trust that when you come up now, they don't baby you on the main roster. They're not slowing you down. Like you can see with the Creeds now, even like as soon as you get to the main roster, NXT is supposed to get you ready for that. So I think they did put a lot of trust in me. Having my first match being Edge in Madison Square Garden, that's kind of wild. But I think all the times that they put that trust in me, I earned it.
Now, I'm sure people have asked you before, like, man, who are your influences growing up? Who did you watch? Who did you do that? And that's a great question. But what I really want to ask, and this is because we're not too far apart, I think, in age. So I want to ask, who was your guy on the video games? That's what I want to know. Like, who did you play on the game? Like, when you put in whatever it was.
Oh, okay, on the game.
Whether it be, Here Comes the Pain, whatever the video game you were playing was, who was the character, who was the wrestler that you would choose?
The first one I remember using, so I can give you a bit more of a fun answer. I remember the first game I played was I think it was Attitude. So it would have been like Nintendo 64 version. But I used D'Lo Brown. D'Lo Brown was fun to use. That guy has a great moveset. He's got the fun frog splash. He has the sky high. Like, he has that fun leg drop thing that he did where he just wobbled his head. Like, for some reason, I don't know what it was, but on the video game, I was a huge D'Lo Brown guy.
D'Lo's great. I mean, and to me, I found myself mocking the way the guys would walk through the curtain into the ring, and D'Lo with the head shake was he a lot of charisma just when he came through the curtain, and that's kind of one of the keys of the business, right?
Very much so. When you see D'Lo coming out, like it was always a lot of fun. And I think I was recently watching some stuff. He had the whole thing with the chest plate and all those type of things. Like D'Lo was a lot of fun. I don't know how his neck's going today. All that wobbling, man. He might have some surgery or something soon because that can't be good for you.
There are a lot of things happening when you go into Royal Rumble season, WrestleMania season's right around the corner. WrestleMania 40, a big show. I'm sure you have your eye on it. A lot of big names coming back. Obviously, CM Punk just came back to WWE after 10 years. Randy Orton's back. There's a lot of potential matchups you could see yourself having at WrestleMania with some top guys. Do you have your eye on anybody like, man, I can't wait to get that opportunity?
Definitely. And, I got to meet Punk for the first time last week. I'm not going to say anything else about that meeting. I know people have seen how I am online and those type of interactions. So I'm not going to give away how that interaction went. Same with Randy. I've met him briefly in the past. I got to meet him properly last week. And I think Grayson Waller is who he is. So maybe those interactions aren't as polite and as nice as maybe in other instances. But that's okay. I think the roster in WWE right now is stacked. Like from top to bottom, it's kind of crazy. Like when you look at the SmackDown roster, which I'm a part of, like you got Roman Reigns, who's the champion, and sometimes he's not even there, but those shows are still stacked. So for me personally, it's not about a person for WrestleMania 40. It's more about being on that card. I got to attend last year with the NXT. We're up in the box and watching it. And I told myself, I was sitting with Carmelo Hayes, who I'm working this week. At the time, we were kind of a little bit closer friends. And I said to him, like, this is us next year. And we both had that same vibe. So for me personally, it's all about getting on WrestleMania and being on that card. I don't care who's across from me type of thing. And doing it in Philly, I'm a big Eagles fan, like in Lincoln Financial. Like, it's just like everything's happening for a reason right now. It's all working out pretty well.
Now, when you go back to your NXT days just for one moment, I think a lot of the times, like, the medium is the message. Who we get those lessons from is just as important as the lesson themselves. And I think having Shawn Michaels down there, who has done it at the high level in any part of this industry, whether it's talking about being an authority figure, being in the ring, being a part of a group, a tag team, a babyface, a heel, main event of WrestleMania, opening match of WrestleMania. He's done it all. Did you really soak in the things that he said, and do you feel like he helped guide you, where you are now?
Very much so. Like when people talk about NXT, especially lately, like NXT is getting a lot of props finally. Like I think it's been good for a while, but now people are finally starting to to kind of get on the bandwagon, but that's because of Sean. I know personally me and Sean in the past haven't necessarily got along, but it is what it is. I can still show him the respect, and I see the investment that he has in the talent there. When you're someone that he sees something in, he's going to go in and he's going to do whatever it takes to help you out. And the right people down there are going to use him appropriately and get them to the main roster and get them to big things on the main roster. Like if you're down there and you're not using Sean, you're an idiot. And I still remember me and Mello had a video session with Sean earlier on, and he's straight to the point. He's blunt. Like there's no babying down there for when you with Sean. He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks, and that's the guy to listen to. He's literally done it all. So if you're not going to Sean for advice and you're not taking in any lessons from him, like you're not going to go anywhere.
Well, you will be here in Houston, Texas. The WWE Live Holiday Tour comes to the Toyota Center on December the 28th. What does Grayson Waller want to say to the people of Houston before they see you on that fair day?
Like, where else would you rather be? You know, it's the holidays. You probably sat and ate at home with your family for 3 days. You know, you need to get out of the house. You need to go do something. And like live wrestling, like especially WWE, there's nothing like it. Like it's fun to watch on TV, but when you're there live, it's a different thing. And I'm going to be there to put on performance. You know, I haven't got my family here. I'm not really doing Christmas this year. So like, I want to go out and I want to fight some people, but I'm a little upset. I was looking at the thing. It's like $20 to get a ticket, $20 to see Grayson Waller. I'm a little bit offended. Like, I feel that that's not much money. Yeah, I think that the prices need to go. $20 to see Grayson Waller, that's a bit of a steal. So I'm going to have to talk to Santa. I know some kids are going to be asking for these tickets for Christmas.
Well, Grayson, we can't wait to see you, and we hope that the price of admission goes up just to see you, but we also want the whole family to be able to come out at the same time. So Grayson Waller, everybody, we appreciate you joining us.
Legend. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Hurry up, tape running out.